Coming up today on Ktown Social Club, Hannah Kang of the Tiger in the Room podcast will be joining us for the first half. And then also Young Kim and I went to interview President Yoon supporters in Orange County, and we'll talk about that and show some of the video. All that coming up and more.
From Koreatown, Los Angeles, thank you for tuning in to Ktown Social Club for the issues you really care about. With Young Kim, David Yoon, Hajin Cho, Ed Choi, and I'm your host, Michael Kim. And with that, let's start the show.
The guy on a YouTube fighting channel.
Yeah, and welcome to Ktown Social Club. Thank you. I'm Michael Kim, joined today by Ed Choi and Young Kim. Thank you guys for joining. How was your weekend, guys?
It was good. It was good.
It was a good weekend?
It was good. I was sick.
You were sick?
Yeah.
Are you still sick?
No, it wasn't COVID either, but it was like harder than it floored me more than COVID.
So just a common cold.
I don't know what it was.
It
Now, you
floored
know that
more than
myth that
COVID.
like men are just like completely buckle when they
I
just
think
get a cold.
that's how we all die. I think that's how the human race gets annihilated. That one strain, that one virus that we can't find an immunity for. Like, what was
flu.
that? No, not the flu. What was that? There was like some African disease.
MERS?
Like amoeba.
SARS?
Amoeba.
Ebola? All right.
Well, technically, there isn't a vaccine for the flu. I mean, like a cure for the flu. There is a vaccine.
Well, it's about time for another, because there was SARS like 20 years ago, and then there was MERS, and then COVID. Now it's time for another one to come in the next.
Avian flu.
I think
It's
we,
happening
I
right
think
now.
we
it's
just have
happening
to.
right now, okay.
I think you have to shut the borders down, dude.
No, literally, just now, it like jumped to cows.
That's what I heard.
It's like
I
killing-
heard, and then it went to like some kind of other animal or something. That's what I heard.
And cats.
But then
which-
I also saw another article pop up. Right, it said this has been going on for however many years, and why hasn't it wiped out the human race?
We're
Which
like
is they're
cockroaches.
saying that is never actually going to come and get to the human race. That's what some people are saying as well, but I don't know.
Until a big asteroid
I
hits
don't
us.
know. Hey,
Well-
someone fucked a monkey and AIDS came out. Okay,
COVID would
I
have
don't
killed
know.
us
Who
if there
did?
weren't vaccines.
I don't know, dude. I don't know how AIDS came about, but I had heard that
Yeah.
it was from having sex with monkeys.
Okay, cool. All right, well,
I don't know.
That's what the WHO told me.
WHO. All right, well, great. How about you, Ed?
I don't really remember.
You don't really remember? You don't really remember your weekends.
Yeah, no.
Did you enjoy it? Is it a positive vibe?
It wasn't stressful, so I guess so.
Are you
That's
a
good.
homebody?
This weekend, I think I was.
No, I feel like you look different. You're kind of glowing, dude. Did you get a girlfriend or something
No,
or
I
what?
just got a haircut.
That's it?
Yeah.
No girlfriend?
No.
You don't need a girlfriend to glow.
No, but it has.
Good
By the way,
skincare.
I was saying there. I was watching this. In Korea they have all these MMA channels, right?
Yeah.
And there's a channel and there's a fighter who's like a boxer. And he looks a lot like you.
What's his name?
I don't know. I forgot the name, but
Okay.
I can show you the episode. But
All right,
it looks
well,
a lot like you.
show me after the show. And anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and smash that notification bell. Don't forget to share this video with all your friends. And we're going to be right back with Hannah Kang, host of the Tiger in the Room podcast.
Rawr.
Stay tuned. And we are back with Ktown Social Club. And joining me, Michael Kim, Ed Choi, and Young Kim today is zooming in all the way from New York is Hannah Kang of the Tiger in the Room podcast. Welcome to Ktown Social Club, Hannah.
Hi.
New York.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Yeah, New York. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've been watching the show kind of on and off, so it's a real pleasure to be here. So
Thank you. You do watch on and off. Do you have any particular favorite episodes or member or anything?
I feel like it was one of the earlier episodes. I can't remember a specific episode. I feel like I kind of tend to pause and then not watch the rest of it and then kind of come back later. But I feel like some of the earlier episodes, especially some of the political discussions you guys had, I found pretty interesting. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, you host this Tiger in the Room podcast, which I think I got this online. It says it's a podcast series that explores the realities of modern day racism and the unique challenges faced by Asian Americans. And it was created and hosted by Hannah Kang, a New York City based activist. Is that all correct?
Yeah, that sounds right. I think that's exactly what's on my YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah, and yeah, what was the specific moment that got you to start this podcast?
Yeah, so I'll give a little bit of context, I guess. So, I'm a second generation Korean American, but my mom came here when she was quite young, actually. She's actually more of a 1.5er. She came when she was, I'm going to say like 8 or 9. So growing up, my sister and I were told a lot of stories about what our family went through when they first came here to New York City. It was kind of like the tail end of the Vietnam War. Back then, like a lot of people didn't know what Korea was, but my mom and her sisters, they faced a lot of racism growing up. And I think my mom, she didn't really take it lying down. She had like a black belt in Taekwondo, and she like would actually she would fight back and get into a lot of trouble for it. But I think that kind of mentality is something she wanted to pass down to me and my sister. It was always about like never allowing people to like disrespect us for any reason whatsoever. I think, race tends to be one of the easiest ways to kind of target someone because of, the optics of what race is. And so I think growing up, I always just had the sense of knowing like, Asians, like we do face discrimination, like racism does happen. But where it all kind of built up for me was in 2020, obviously like with all the hate crimes that were happening in, not just New York City, but all across the country. I was very frustrated with like what I saw mainstream media not really talking about it initially, even though we knew like these hate crimes were going on. And it wasn't really until I think 2021 when we saw like more of a response happening from just like media and government and even just like activists and organizers. But I still felt the conversation wasn't really nuanced in terms of like what the real issues were. It's just very easy for people to say like Trump saying China virus was the cause of this. But I saw it as being a lot more nuanced than that, because I don't think racism started because of COVID. I think it was certainly an impetus, but I think racism against Asians has always been there, but it's just never really been talked about. So it's something I feel like I've always felt as a passion, but I think the push to do it was really because of what happened after 2020. So
okay, so
yeah, why do you think that racism against Asians are kind of tolerated? Because even in Korea, when we had like Hollister and Abercrombie models come in, like they were seen taking pictures with fans, like doing the Asian eye thing and like doing like poses that obviously are mocking Asian Americans or Koreans in that country. And they'll even come to like our soil to do that. So there was a big thing about that. But even in America, when you look at like Jeremy Lin, for example, when he came out, Sports Illustrated printed a cover page of him saying "chink in the armor." These puns are constantly used, and no one's sensitive to these things. Why do you think that? What's your opinion on that?
No, it's a very good question. I think there's a lot of reasons behind it. I think, well, first of all, I think the Asian American community itself is still struggling with being united on how we respond to these types of issues. I do think COVID was probably one of the most significant moments for our community in the sense you did see a lot more widespread acknowledgement that this was a problem. But I do remember even before, Stop Asian Hate became a thing, there were Asians who were gaslighting other Asians just for speaking up about hate crimes. I'll never forget, I used to be more involved with, nonprofit work here in the city. And I remember when BLM broke out, and I was involved with a Korean nonprofit at the time. And we were trying to talk about how do we as Koreans, how do we talk about this from a way that's constructive and demonstrates allyship. And someone on the board, I remember her saying that, it was right off the bat, Korean people, we have to acknowledge our anti-Blackness, and we have to, apologize for our role in our role in the systemic racism against Black people. And I remember asking her what she meant by that, and she said that because Korean business owners had set up businesses in underprivileged neighborhoods, that we had effectively played a role in their systemic oppression. And I'll be quite honest, that did not really sit well with me, because I don't think my grandparents had that in mind at all when they set up their businesses in New York. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding as to like what like Asians have gone through coming here. I mean, we certainly could have maybe done a better job in assimilating, but I don't think that's entirely our fault. So all that to say is like I just think that we're not a monolith. That's said a lot over and over. But I think we as a community still haven't really figured out like what we stand for, other than the fact that, people can't tell the difference between like Chinese and Korean. Like the only thing that really unites us is the fact that if someone is really out to get Asians, they're not going to make a difference between the way, a Chinese, Japanese, or Korean person looks. But we as a community, I don't think have really come to a consensus on like how we feel about these issues and what stand we want to take. That's a big reason why like this has been a problem, but we haven't seen like a very strong response to it until very recently.
Okay. And are you very political? Like, just for our audience's curiosity, where do you fall politically?
Where do I fall politically? That's the thing, right? I think, when I started becoming a little bit more vocal on my social media about this issue, I saw a lot of people branding me as like, she's conservative, she's like, she's centrist, like, and I thought that was interesting that they felt the need to like categorize my views. I've never viewed it as like being liberal or conservative to just simply say, please, stop gaslighting Asian people. Please stop telling us like how to think. Please stop telling us like we are part of systemic oppression in a country where we have absolutely like no political influence or any sort of, authority in like media or government. And I don't see the need to categorize that because I just see myself as someone who cares about this community. And, I'm very passionate about the idea of justice too. So I don't know how to answer that. I don't think I'm either, to be quite honest. I think it's just more about wanting fairness and wanting, just sort of, just like equal views on what we go through as a community. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. And, you've been doing your podcast. I saw you had, I think I saw 10 episodes. What's the response that you've received from listeners? Like, has it been positive? Anything critical, especially from other Asians?
Yeah, I mean, it's still like we're still working on, getting our views up. I'm sure I could probably use some advice from you guys, but the response has been mostly positive. Definitely have heard some things from people saying they've never thought about some of these things. The goal with the podcast was not only to have like these nuanced conversations, but I wanted to highlight specific people who I felt was doing really important or interesting things in the community. Doug was on the show and, I wanted him on to talk about some of the Asian masculinity stuff, but also because I do think that, I do think his views have contributed to a lot of people being a little bit more educated on this issue. But not a lot of people, I think, would know who he is outside of like the Twitter world. So, people like him, had like Grace Meng on the show. She's a congresswoman from New York. She introduced the hate crimes bill.
China Mac.
Had like Perry Young, who's an actor from Warrior. So the goal was really to showcase different sides of this issue. And also, I think people respond well to it. But, certainly like this issue has lost a lot of momentum. So it's not going to like, I'm not going to blow up overnight. That's not my goal. But it's really just to, I think, like put it out there as like a resource for people if they, if they're seeking this kind of conversation.
Can I just throw a question in there? When both presidents, when you look at Trump as well as Biden, I mean, all presidents on all sides, when it comes to like labeling some kind of a crime against Asians as hate crimes, like they're very reluctant to do that. I'm kind of curious, like why that is so. Why? Remember, even when all these things were happening to like, older senior citizens, there were random attacks that were happening and, no one would label it or say that this is a hate crime or we're looking at it as a hate crime. They just see it as like a common crime against the senior citizens or something. Why do you think that's so?
I mean, Biden did address that there was a rise in hate crimes.
He did address that, but he never went as far as to label like a crime against an Asian American as like a hate crime.
He did say it was a problem though.
Okay.
But I do understand I agree with that, Ed. And, I think Biden really, took a really big step in publicly denouncing anti-Asian hate. And, he was a big supporter of the Asian hate crimes bill too. But to Young's point, that certainly is an issue that we've especially noticed here in New York. Even after Atlanta happened, there was still a string of violent assaults happening against, like, especially Asian women in New York. There were two specific incidents I could think of. You guys might have been familiar with it. Michelle Go, she was the woman who got pushed in front of a subway,
Right.
and Christina Yoon Lee, who was a Korean American woman who got murdered in Chinatown. And when those incidents actually happened within a month of each other, and the prosecution still refused to call it a hate crime.
Yeah.
And I noticed like more of the comments on those incidents were spent trying to justify like why this was a hate crime. And I felt like this is not the kind of reaction you typically see if the victim is like of another background, or of a certain orientation. The media seems much more comfortable labeling it as that or suggesting it as that. But yeah, for whatever reason, when the victim is an Asian, there is a reluctance. And I've heard legal reasons for it. I've heard a lot of things about why the legal argument for what a hate crime is in New York makes that more complicated. But I don't think we're trying to dive into that kind of nuance. I think we just want the media to just start acknowledging, like, we're seeing a pattern, and it's definitely possible this was a racially motivated hate crime. And we're not crying wolf because we're saying that. It's because we know that this is absolutely a possibility. So
the legal system is a little hesitant to label things a hate crime because it's really hard to prove. Because unless the aggressor literally says, I targeted them because they're Asian, unless they admit to it, you almost cannot prove it. But from an actual standpoint, even if they were like, oh, Asian people are less likely to fight back and it's not a hate thing, that's still a hate crime because you committed a crime against them because of their ethnicity and their background. But that's really hard to prove.
Can I throw another issue in here? I have a friend named Eugene Chung. He's a former lineman. Huh?
Football guy.
Yeah, he's a former lineman, and this was around this time. It's kind of a related thing because around this time, after the success of the Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl team, he wanted to become a head coach. So one of the things was going around was DEI was going around, and there was a lot of hiring of minority coaches for head coaching positions, right? And he was one of the ones that actually talked to people about it. And he heard from an insider, and they told him that you're not the right minority. So if you look this up on Google, Eugene Chung, not the right minority, it will come out everywhere. And I even called Eugene while he was in LA, and we filmed an interview with him. And Eugene later on had a press conference talking about this incident. But to our surprise, we thought the ball was kind of rolling for the Asian community when it came to attention on racism and certain opportunities that were missed as minorities. To our surprise, there was no attention. Like the NFL, no one gave any attention to. I'm not sure if you remember. Are you familiar with this? Anna, are you familiar with this?
Sorry, I didn't catch that last part. There was something else in the audio.
Sorry.
What was the last part?
I wasn't sure. Were you familiar with this? Have you heard about this?
No, I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me. It happens quite, I mean, I think the idea that Asians are not the right minority, you tend to also see that with, for example, diversity initiatives in the workplace. Diversity hiring does not include Asians, and they're very blatant about that as well. I work in the corporate world. I've worked in corporate for, over 10 years now. And they don't try to hide it. Like when they talk about diversity hiring, I've worked in both finance and tech, and it's the same in both. They make it very clear diversity means women and every other race except Asian.
Like why is that not racist?
What I find just very interesting about that is like there's not even an effort to sort of hide that. It's sort of very clear, like we just are not considered the candidates that they think fall under like the minority category. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I didn't hear about it, but it doesn't surprise me.
Well, I mean, it's not right, but in those two sectors, they are very Asian populated. So if you really think about the word diversity, if it's all Asian people, it is not technically diverse.
I actually don't know if I fully agree with that. I think it depends on who's saying there's too many, right? I think at the end of the day, right, I don't think we're ever going to be the majority.
No, I mean, not like over white people, but I just mean like if white people are running the company.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But I do think that the people making that call are not of the community. I think there's usually like an optics problem for them if they feel like there's too many Asians. And I think the issue like fundamentally is that there's kind of a cap being put on our potential. Like, why is it an issue if we don't want to bring more Asians in, right? I think the fundamental problem is that they don't consider us a minority because they don't think we could benefit as well from a little additional help from getting our foot in the door. You know, I mean, I didn't grow up privileged. Like, plenty of my friends did not. I'm from Flushing. I grew up around a lot of Korean people. A lot of us did not get handouts to get to where we were. We worked our asses off. Like, our parents knew nothing about corporate higher education. I didn't have mentors growing up. I knew nothing about that. And I'm not saying my personal experience has to reflect everybody, but the idea of just being successful and that alone is what prevents people like me from needing that additional step up. I just find that not a correct view on what we go through. So yeah, I generally think the argument made there is just because it's an optics problem, and the person usually making that call, I think, is not a minority.
Yeah, and I only actually bring that up because I worked in other sectors, and that's not true in other industries. That's very specific to finance and tech, because there is a lot of Asian people do go towards finance and tech. So it is a lot more Asian heavy. So I'm not saying that I didn't bring that up because I'm saying it's right. I'm just saying that compared to other industries, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I don't know much about New York or Flushing. Like, do you know LA pretty well? Like, what's the LA equivalent of Flushing?
Yeah. So I do have to tell you, I am wearing my Koreatown shirt today.
Yeah.
For the show. Do you guys see it?
Yeah,
you can see
Koreatown.
it.
Does it say 92?
And it's like a Dodgers writing too in the East Coast.
It's dumbfounded shirt. If you see
Oh,
that.
it does say
nice,
92.
nice.
Dumbfounded made that?
So so I'm from New York originally. I was born and raised in Flushing, which is, used to be a lot more Korean actually, but it's changed a lot. I've been to LA twice, but my last trip, I was there for a week and just absolutely fell in love with Ktown actually. I mean, I didn't go do like the nightlife stuff as much, but I was so blown away by like the food and just it looks like Flushing, but like 12 times the size of Flushing, like that whole plaza setup. We have that, but it's just like one. And then it's like in the middle of a giant boulevard. But Ktown is kind of like 12 times the size of that. So I had a blast. Like I think we ate in Ktown like every day that week. And I'm actually going to be back there in June. And I'm told my friend, like, I just want to stay near all the good Korean spots. But no, I know like the history of LA Ktown. I learned about the LA riots when I was in college. I know the role that Radio Korea played in organizing the Rooftop Koreans, as they call it, which I think is, such an incredible moment, honestly, in history. It wasn't something like, I grew up hearing about, but I was always very aware that there's a very large Korean community out in LA. And in some ways, I've even heard from some other Asian friends that the default Asian in California is actually Korean because of how many Korean people are out there. And that just is kind of mind-blowing to me because in New York, I think the default Asian is Chinese, even though there are a lot of Koreans out here. Mm-hmm. So I can see some differences, but probably there's quite some similarities as well, I would imagine. So.
Okay, so you grew up in Flushing, which appears like you did grow up around a lot of Koreans. So how does it compare to like somewhere like Yonkers?
Yeah, so I don't know anything about Yonkers. I think New Yorkers, like native New Yorkers, I think we tend to assume that anything outside of the 5 boroughs just isn't really worth talking about, just to be quite honest. Not to like, I know some people I have friends who are from upstate and they hate being called upstate people. But that's just the reality. Like if you're not part of the 5 boroughs. But yeah, I mean, growing up in Queens, I think most Koreans live in Queens in New York City. I would say Queens is just, it's a very diverse area. It's like the ethnically most diverse county in the world. I think the beauty of Queens is that you can find just over 100 languages spoken. Like the original immigrant cultures are very well preserved there. The neighborhoods are all kind of like side by side. And it's insane because, my grandparents, like they came here in the 70s and they never learned English. They never like became American. And, they ended up spending, I think, most of their lives here compared to Korea. But because they were part of that bubble, they never had to really assimilate. And in some ways, I think that's why even someone like me, who I've spent like maybe a month total in Korea my whole life, but I do speak Korean. I do know the culture. I know it's a very outdated version. I know it's like a 1970s version of the culture, but I did grow up with a very strong sense of my identity, and I was very like proud of it. I didn't grow up like wanting to be like white or wanting to hide that. And I think that's a testament to like growing up in a place like Flushing that allowed me to have that without feeling like I had to be ashamed of it. So, yeah.
Right. Okay, that's great. All right, then. I guess since you brought up the Rooftop Koreans, like, what is your view on them, or the view of people you've talked to? Like, what do they think about Rooftop Koreans? Because some people love them, some people think they're bad. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just very Korean, you know, like I feel like Korean people, like, we don't really, take shit. I mean, I just think like, I'll get pretty real. I have a lot of Chinese friends. I grew up in Flushing. I had Chinese and Korean friends, and I just feel like Korean people were very, we're obviously, I think, a little bit more like hot-tempered. But I think the positive of it is like we sort of just, when we see something we just don't like, or if we see an injustice happening, I think we do act upon it. That's how I view the role that Rooftop Koreans did during the riots. The fact that like they didn't stay complacent and took that lying down. I found out much later that there were people who had a very negative view of what the Rooftop Koreans did, which I kind of don't understand, like, what is controversial about defending, your family's livelihood or your own business. But it's something I do hear every April 2nd when there's like a LA riot kind of commemoration. I'm just kind of like, and I hear from other Korean people too, and I don't really agree with it personally, but personally, I'm very proud of what the Rooftop Koreans did. And I think it's a testament to, maybe the history of Korea and how we've always had to kind of fight back and preserve like our culture, our language, our identity. I think that fighting spirit is kind of a legacy of Korea, and maybe that's kind of where it comes from. Because I do notice, like, with my Chinese friends, like, sometimes like when they hear about stuff happening, it's just the reaction is not as fired up, I would say. It's sometimes a little bit like, let's take the path of least resistance. Let's not get too worked up, And I don't think I'm being politically incorrect by saying that, but I do think it's a very, unique aspect of Korean people that we sort of just, take matters into our own hands. So, yeah.
She sounds conservative to me. Just just the way, like,
or communist.
No, conservative.
No? Conservative.
Like, just it's very, like, to support. Most people that support the Rooftop Koreans tend to have like the Second Amendment rights, that type of stuff.
I think
I'm not pro guns or anything. It's not that at all. It's just I just view like, I mean, it's like if the police are not gonna protect you and things are going to shit, like I just don't get like what you're supposed to do. I don't know.
In California, you're supposed to sit there and let it happen.
No, it's not. When the Fairfax riots happened, every single one of our neighbors left, and I stood outside my store with my fists and I defended my shop and art gallery. Awesome. So yeah, it's just.
Were you okay?
Yeah, okay. I literally, people ran up to me with hammers, ready to like break down our gate, and I literally, with my words, was just like, "Not here, not today."
That's
and
awesome.
all of them were just like, what crazy person stands here and tries to stop a hammer with words? And then you could see it on their face, and then they would like look next door and they'd be like, well, there's a store next door with no people standing in front of it, so I'm just going to go there and loot it. And I stopped like 6 to 7 people, 3 of whom had hammers, coming at me and trying to break in.
Nice.
But you do realize it could have also ended very bad too.
Yeah, no, my mom, my whole family were yelling at me. They were calling me an idiot, telling me to leave. And I was like, I can't. I was like, close, sure.
I want to say God was looking out for you.
No, it was like the clothes, sure. But I was like, we have an art gallery. And I was like, people's lives, emotions, their life experiences are in this art. And that's not replaceable. And I felt this need to like protect that, because you can't. I mean, sure, insurance might have paid back what's worth, but like that art, it's one of one. It's one of one,
Actually,
it's
insurance
gone.
was really not that, like, especially like business insurance. It really was not that prevalent back then in those years. So a lot of those people, a lot of the Korean folks out there, that was all their, all of their fortune.
And some of them did have insurance, but they got it from some shady insurance
Oh,
broker.
really? I didn't
and
even know about that.
And even if you had legitimate insurance, they probably would deny your claim anyway. You know what I mean? That happened a lot in 2020.
But I know that not all the guns, especially at certain swap meet locations, were not real. My dad and his friends were at the Namdaemun place, right? And apparently they brought out the Uzi. So they had like, half of them, they had like 5 guns, right? And then they didn't have enough, right, for other people. So they had to get like the toy Uzis from the toy stores within the swap meets and then wrap black electrical tape around the orange tip and hold those out there.
So, yeah, nice. Hey, Hannah, so what do you think about the Rooftop Koreans making a comeback? I hear they're thinking of doing that.
I don't get that. What do you mean? They're going to come back and do what?
Actually, I have a question for because I don't know LA, Ktown as well as New York, obviously. But what is like the view of what happened back then among like LA Koreans today? Is it something that still gets talked about? Is there a feeling of like, I mean, to my understanding, those business owners were never compensated either for the damages that they experienced, and I think the Koreans incurred the most damages from that from the riots. It was like what, close to like 50 million or something like that. I don't know, but. Yeah, just curious, like, what's the view of it today?
I think the view depends on who you ask. But if you ask the Koreans, like the non-English speaking ones, I think they're more like, well, you probably know that view. Like we were attacked by rioters or something, and we defended ourselves. And but I think with I guess the ones who grew up here, or maybe who have more,
progressive ideologies, shall we say?
Whatever it is, some of them may think that the Rooftop Koreans were maybe racist or something like that.
Can I just say? Can I get in there and just say one thing? Because from my judgment of living those years, Koreans were racist as hell. And Koreans are still racist as hell in Korea.
I think the real view...
It's a fact.
I think the real view is that the government and the media try to... And I think mostly the media try to portray it as a black versus Asian thing. And that's like the tactic that the government always takes, right? Forgetting that it was both Asian and black against the white people. You know what I mean? It was the white cops that weren't helping the Asian businesses. It was the white cops that killed Rodney King.
Like, and they put the trials together,
right? That's what I'm saying.
To mix it into the equation.
Constantly, always do that.
The anger would be directed towards the Korean Americans. So there was a lot of different things that were going on in play back then. And it is true when a black person came into a store, it was like red alert, everyone's just sitting there, like checking out if they're going to steal anything. And yeah, it's true. A lot of black people came and stole too, and they still do, It's all facts on all sides of the table that come together and create a situation where it just overflows. And it's just like, you just light the fuse on there, and then you got a whole race of people going at it like it's a prison or something.
Yeah. Let me just...
Sorry, did I just overdo it?
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like that's the thing. Like I think that we saw that play out even during COVID, where at one point you couldn't really say that there was a pattern of people of color attacking Asians, and like the LA riots, I noticed comes up quite a lot when there are black people who try to call Asians out for the violence that was happening. Like they will say Latasha Harlan's name, and it's just like one of those things where I'm like, that incident happened 36 years ago. And if that's the only incident you've got, like there's numerous incidents of Korean store owners who were murdered here in New York City, and that those never get talked about. And I think that the problem I have with that, I don't deny Koreans are racist. I think, quite frankly, racism exists everywhere. But I think the racism happens from the other side towards us as well. But for some reason, we're not allowed to call that out because one community sort of views that they're not racist because of what they went through. But I'm like, no, you can absolutely be racist. If you're targeting me because of my race and you're calling me a chink, you are a racist. And if you are like, so that's the problem I have with it. And I think the LA riots have really been one of the key moments that people use where you see this dynamic play out, where it's like the Koreans are supposed to apologize. And it's like, I think there's very justified reasons why those business owners may have felt like they had to protect their, like my grandparents, like they got robbed like by black people as well, and it's like, I'm not saying that it's right what they may have felt, but I don't think you can also blame them if they felt there was like a pattern happening. And I think that there should just be like empathy about that instead of saying you're racist for even saying it. So
Right.
Can
I just wanted to
throw in the
there.
racist thing? Yeah, I did also say that Koreans are racist as hell, and a lot of people are. But it comes from being in a homogenous country, not having enough contact or living with other folks. So it's not from ignorance or arrogance or anything like that, or racism, pure racism and hate. I think it comes from a lack of contact. And one of the things is I think Hollywood and also the news industry are some of the biggest contributors to racism and black racism. If you go anywhere around the world, people are afraid of a black person down the alley. And the reason for being that is the portrayal of black folks, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree or disagree with me on that, but the way I see it, I think this was also kind of, it's so many different factors pointing to it, and contributing factors include Hollywood as well as the news industry, what's shown on TV.
Well, but that's the thing is that like, yes, Hollywood is culpable, but it's also like you said, when Korean people come here from a homogenized country, then instead of realizing that could happen to any people, then it's believing the entertainment industry and following that as if it's real. That's the part where it gets a little racist,
yes,
right? Because
yes.
it's like one thing to notice that you do have a certain demographic of people who may have robbed your store. It's another thing to then stereotype every single person of that demographic coming into your store thinking that they're going to be a thief.
I agree.
That's where the racism comes
I agree
in.
with you. Yes,
Right.
yes.
Okay, let me just, we gotta.
It's just so hard to differentiate
yeah,
that.
we got, yeah,
You just have
we
to
gotta
work on yourself.
We gotta. Let me
I
just.
mean, not you. Like, I just mean people have to be internally work on themselves. you
I'll
know?
work on him.
Okay, so yeah, just a quick recap on the riot thing. 4 white LAPD officers beat the shit out of Rodney King, a black man. Korean store
Unjustly.
owner shot black Latasha Harlins in the head. A white judge let the Korean shop owner free. The Korean shop owner was represented by a black attorney, by the way. The 4 white cops were let go for the Rodney King thing, and somehow the riots became all about how Koreans got away with killing a black girl. And, even in our documentary that I asked Doug to direct, we found out in our research that there were about, I think, something like 43 Korean shop owners were killed around that same time as Latasha Harlins, like early 90s. And we don't know any of their names. There's no park or statue for any of them. But every year on, like April 29th, Saigu, it's always like, remember Latasha Harlins. Remember Latasha Harlins. It's like, I mean, yeah, they're.
Yeah, but whose fault is that really?
Well, this is all.
I think that's our community's fault.
Which is
Yeah. Yeah, I do think, I do think that Korean Americans today, like I don't want to generalize, but I feel like we don't really like openly acknowledge these things. I do think like we also could do a better job at sort of integrating ourselves with some of the more Pan-Asian issues, because I think what happened to Latasha Harlins is not just about Korean versus Black people. It's also, I think more broadly, like it's a racism issue too. And here in New York, like I do notice whenever I'm part of any sort of like Pan-Asian discussion, or if I'm at a rally or a diversity initiative, I don't see many Korean people, generally speaking. It's more definitely like Chinese and Southeast Asian,
Lots of Southeast Asian.
and Filipino, Southeast Asian. But I know where to find Korean people though. Like they'll be in Ktown, like they'll be like hanging out on a Saturday night. And I say this more because like it does concern me at times that we don't try to be part of these discussions, and I don't know necessarily like why that is. But I think maybe there's a feeling of like this doesn't really affect us. But I think it's really important, especially like for my generation, to kind of start seeing us as not just part of like a Korean community, but we're also part of like a larger Asian community, and these things very much are important to us too. But I'm still really not seeing that kind of active engagement, like that active, like there's a couple of us for sure. I mean, I think we certainly do, like there's some of us who are very politically active, but I think we as a community overall could do a better job at doing that.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's our fault. Because, like, why does the Black community know about Latasha? It's because they make it a point to remember her. Whereas, like, whose fault is it that we don't know this 43 victims' names. It's our fault. It's because our community didn't care to learn their names. It's because our community didn't care to repeat
we must
their
broadcast their names
on a yearly basis. You know what I mean? And like, to answer your question earlier, Young, I don't think it's necessarily a thing that Asian hate crimes against Asian is more tolerated. I think it's that our community doesn't do anything about it. It's because we don't speak up about it. Because it's not like the racism against black community is less than the whites or against the Asian people. It's because they, as a community, will stand up together and talk against it and try to fight against it. Whereas with us, like, the Georgia shootings happened, there wasn't a single demonstration, there wasn't a single riot. Nobody in our community gave a shit.
I agree. Do you think we need to burn the house down?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
I agree with that.
I think sometimes that reaction might be necessary.
No, I agree.
That's why, like, in the beginning of the riots in 2020, as a business owner, in the beginning of 2020, as a business owner, I started to be like, man, riots are bad. And then I started to notice the impact it was having. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Do whatever you have to do to enact change, because we can't live like this forever. Businesses will come back. We'll figure it out. But like human rights, we need to figure this out now, you know? Right. And I'm not condoning burning things down and robbing people.
And that's also why, like, I do think Korean Americans, like, we're not, you know, like, I remember when there was a rally for the Atlanta spa victims in New York. And I remember that rally feeling very different compared to previous rallies. Like, I saw a lot more Korean people there. They brought in like a Korean pastor and a Korean shaman to do prayers. Oh. And at one point the speakers, you know, switched from English to Korean, and there was like this huge reaction from the crowd. Like, the energy kind of just changed. And I was like, you know, if we somehow tapped into like whatever it is, like that Han or that anger, that K-rage that they all talk about, I feel like we could really make a difference in pushing back against like the things that we experience, you know, because we're not I don't view us as quiet people. Like, we're not complacent people. No. But something about, I don't know, maybe our generation comes here and...
It's okay. We have the K-pop artists.
We also don't have the numbers. You know what I mean? Like, we're so spread out a little bit.
I mean, LA and New York, I think, right? It's the two most populated populations of Koreans. I agree with you. Relatively speaking, we're smaller, but I think we can organize if we just kind of came together and sort of, you know, just...
I agree.
Just harness that like K-rage a little bit. You know?
A lot of East Asians, period, they seem to have the, you know, I'll just take care of my family, turn the other cheek.
Yep.
Yeah.
That mentality.
Anyway,
it's the assimilation mentality.
Anyway, we got to wrap it up, but I did want to say that I do have to slightly disagree with you, Ed, that it's our fault that people don't know about our victims. I believe that the reason why the black community knows Latasha Harlins is not because black people keep remembering her, but because white people, I believe, make an issue out of it to use it as a weapon, to weaponize something against Asians or something like, look at these freaking Asians. Because there's thousands of black victims, but why do we know her? You know, and even Eric Garner. Do we talk about Eric Garner every year? No, we don't. And that was 10 years ago when he was choked out by police. And that was during the Black Lives Matter, when it started around that time. But again, well, why doesn't the white media talk about Eric Garner over and over again? So I do agree that Asians don't really, we should care more for our community, but also part of the blame does lie with the white media, is my belief on that. So anyway, Hannah Kang, thank you so much for joining us today. You said you're going to be back in LA in June. I hope you'll join us in studio so we can talk more about some issues. Are you going to be here for a long time? Because we usually film on Tuesdays.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to. And it's a real honor to be here. We have Radio Korea in New York as well. So I feel like I grew up, with my grandfather, like blasting the Radio Korea in the background. So it kind of feels very surreal. But I really do appreciate the work that you guys are also doing and just trying to, get the word out as well. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. And everyone check out the Tiger in the Room podcast. You can get it on iTunes, Spotify. You can see the video version on YouTube. I did watch one episode today. Hannah can probably guess which episode I watched, but I did watch the full episode. It was quite interesting.
Which episode was that? Sorry, which episode?
It was an episode with a Korean guy who
Doug. He's talking about the Doug
Oh,
episode.
got it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Got it. Okay.
Do you have a Korean title? It's like 방 안에 호랑이.
There is a Korean title. My logo designer is Korean, and the style of the tiger tail is actually based on like traditional Korean like tiger paintings. So the logo is in Korean. If Korean people will see it,
but
it's very
says
subtle. But I did
tiger.
want to keep it in there.
Okay.
It's not like 호랑이 방. It's
tiger.
tiger.
Bum.
Yeah.
Isn't it bum? Okay. 방 안에 bum. Anyway, okay, thank you, Hannah. And yeah, we'll see you in June. And thank you
Yeah.
for joining us today.
Yeah, leave your Tuesday open.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
All right.
감사합니다. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Peace. All right, and that was it with Hannah Kang. Let's show this on the screen. This is her podcast.
China Mac.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nothing. We'll show it later. I
You
think
know,
there's
all the
some technical
Mexicans and all
issues.
this, they all call, we're all chinitos to them.
Yeah, I know.
We're not japonese.
Yeah, I heard it in high school.
Yeah, we're all chinito, dude.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
That's racist too. Puto.
Well, don't we call them all Mexican?
That's true, but I try to separate it
No.
now. They're Guatemalan,
There
El
are
Salvadorian,
There are
Colombian.
Latin content creators who are like, yo, that's fucking racist.
It is racist.
It
No,
is
it
racist.
totally is racist. I agree. If you're in Paraguay, we shouldn't be calling you a Mexican.
I know, but that's what I mean. When the same way that a lot of Latinos will call
Chinito,
us
yeah.
chinos,
Yeah.
a lot
Chinito.
of people will just call them all Mexican.
But just because we've
Chinito.
done it for centuries doesn't mean that people can't change and progress.
Or
right?
you could just be politically more
Hopefully.
incorrect and say, amigo. That's the worst. I hate it, dude. When like white people and like Asian people, they go up to a Mexican guy and they go, amigo.
I call him friend.
I don't know. You know,
Buddy?
it feels that feels more racist to me. No? Or am I just tripping?
Oh, what are you supposed to say? Hombre? Or
No, I think it just comes off a little condescending.
Yeah, thank you. That's
a
what I'm
little
saying,
bit.
you know?
It's like when people are like, hey, buddy. I'm like, I'm not your fucking
No,
buddy.
even when like they come up to me and they go, hey, chingu. I'm like, ah, shiba.
oh, people do that, huh?
Yeah.
I thought-
Hey, chingu. I'm like, ah, shiba.
I guess
it's the
you
same
can
thing as when
do-
people just walk up to you and they're like, 안녕하세요, and you're like, fuck
I know,
off.
I don't like that shit either. I'm just like, fuck, dude. 안녕하세요. I'm just like, fuck, dude.
Just say,
I'm like-
senor.
Like, at least say it. No, it's not
they're
Mexicans.
usually
It's
white
like-
people.
Or black people.
It's like I'm just living my day and I'm not like well, it's just like I'm not this like thing for you to come up and be like, oh, I know a little Korean. Like I don't give a fuck.
So I went to this bar. They have great steak night. I'm sorry for cutting you off, dude. I walk in there,
just-
this fucking drunk white guy is all, Rob Fukuzaki. I'm like, what the fuck?
From Karate Kid?
No, Rob Fukuzaki from the weather guy or like the sports guy or something.
Oh,
Rob Fukuzuku, or,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
Fuku
yeah.
something, right? I
I
get
was
all
gonna
kinds
say
of shit.
the one Asian guy from Karate Kid, you do
Mr.
look
Miyagi?
No,
Yo,
no,
dude.
not Mr. Miyagi.
I don't look that
the
old,
young,
man.
The young kid, the young guy that he fought, I think in two.
Dr. Jones. Oh, that's Indiana Jones.
Okay. So this is Hannah's podcast, Tiger in the Room. Check it out. Tiger in the Room. It's a podcast series, whatever. China Mac,
She had
Kimberly
China Mac,
Byrne,
dude.
Sam Chang,
That's like
Jonathan Chang, Eric
Montana's
Toda, Grace
must be
Mang,
Thai.
and all these people. So anyway, check it
Grace
out.
Meng. Wait, Grace Meng. She was a journalist, right?
No, she was like a lawmaker or something there.
Okay, she's a
Congress or something.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And then here it is on Spotify. So check
Oh,
it
I
out
like
on
that.
Spotify as well.
Hey, see, I like that. It looks like a dojang. Remember, like Culture Shock used to have a logo
Yeah,
like that.
right, yeah.
Tiger Room.
I think Culture Shocks.
문화 충격.
Anyway. Okay. So anyway, on to our next thing for the last 10
She
minutes or
flows
so.
with me.
You know, Young Kim and I, we went to Orange County, Buena Park on February 15th, the day after Young's 49th birthday. And we went to the Pro-Yoon anti-impeachment
So,
rally in support of President Yoon.
so I think there were some concerns that
From who?
some people that like what light, what angle we were going to cover this as
Who was
I
concerned?
mean, people at the rally.
off the record. Some people.
At the rally?
no, no.
Well,
off-
no. Is it like the production team, or you mean like people at the rally?
No,
Or
it was
like-
just people were concerned that we might have a different view on the rally, or
We do.
but we didn't present it like that. We presented it in a neutral perspective of showing all sides.
which we showed their side.
Theoretically, that's how journalism is supposed to work.
Exactly. That's what we did.
I mean, we showed their side. The first street interview, we interviewed. Doug went out and interviewed the Yoon.
No, that's all I'm saying.
Protesters.
That's all I'm saying. That's exactly what I said.
And this time we went out and interviewed the Yoon supporters.
Yes.
And we let them speak freely.
Yes.
Even though you would interrupt them even. And you were having a dialogue with OC Mom, and it was good because we got some more good information out of it.
Thank you. Did we get some more information,
Yeah.
or was it just interruptions?
It would come off like an interruption, but then it's like, okay, this is turning into something. All right, that's cool.
Thank you.
But then
at least I got that.
Sometimes it's just a straight up like, what?
I know.
Wait, I'm out of my zone now. But anyway, and he put a sticker on me when I'm interviewing somebody.
Yeah, I saw that. Did they show what sticker it was?
It was a Jack in the
It
Box.
was a Jack in the Box sticker.
There was a Jack in the Box
Because
right
I wasn't
next
sure if
door.
it was a sticker or it was like a kick me sign.
No, I wouldn't do that.
It was when he got the shake from Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
I guess they gave him stickers, and he was like putting them on his phone.
Yeah, this chick gave me stickers. I was like, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, who was concerned?
I don't want to say, but there's some
Look,
concerns. That,
Okay, is it a man?
Yes.
Yes.
Is he around the same age as you?
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
non-binary.
No, that's bullshit.
The fuck
Why
does
is
that
it
mean?
bullshit? Because it's a conservative thing?
No,
Dude,
it's
come on.
exactly who you're thinking it
It's
is.
non-binary.
I wasn't even thinking about him until he kept
No.
And two, I don't think there needs to be a narrative because I think they're
Oh, it's
presented.
not who you think. No, it's not.
It's not that. It's
No,
not that
no,
guy. Did you just do a sig aisle?
No. What?
No, nothing. Okay,
No,
so
he's joking. He's busting your balls.
it wasn't a guy who lives near you, who's similar in your age,
No.
and is a conservative who says they're independent.
Wait, why do we have to discuss this on the show? Can we do this off the record?
Nobody's gonna watch this late in unless they're
How
like
do you know?
hardcore.
How do you know?
That's
How do
such
you
a
know?
lie.
How do you know?
That's such a lie. If you're here right now, comment below. Let us know how many of you have made it this
If
far.
you are actually watching this right now,
Yeah, comment right now.
Actually,
now.
if you're watching this right now, not only comment, but guess who you think that we're referring to down below.
so it was one man.
No.
How many?
It was non-binary.
What the fuck?
Look, the point of it is that we don't have to steer this conversation and put a narrative to it because I think they presented themselves exactly how we all thought they would.
I mean, I found out some new things, but okay. Is it a collective?
So I've been. No, it wasn't
I
a
sent
collective.
this to sue you, by the way.
No, don't worry. I'm just saying there were some concerns that I had heard, and all I did was say that hey, we have checked it from all different angles to represent.
Look, if you're on the right side, you shouldn't have to be worried about any
journalistic
narrative.
integrity. That's what that word just flipped out of my mind.
Hey, did you get any feedback? Because the video was released yesterday. Did anybody say anything to you about it?
No, I try to stay away from things like that.
As like my mom would say, 잘못한 사람들만
Like
걱정할
I don't even
수밖에
want to know how you guys 편집ed it. To be honest, like
You didn't even watch it.
no, I don't. I try not to.
You shared the story on
I
your
do.
thing.
No, I
so
saw that, but I share that. But I don't like to watch the videos because I don't like reading the comments that are associated with me.
I don't think you have negative
You have to
comments.
It
Scroll
doesn't
to do
matter.
that.
It's just I have. It's like a
It's a compulsion.
no. It's a trauma.
No, I mean like reading the comments must be a compulsion for
Yeah,
you because
yeah.
you don't have to scroll down to the comments.
I know.
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just like
can't-
let me
yeah.
just see one.
It's like this. It's like the way I am with snacks. If it's in the house, I'm going to eat it.
I know.
You
but
know
it's
what I
just
mean?
like, let me just see one. It's like
Yeah.
let me just see another one. Let me just,
Yeah, I get it.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't like looking at it because that shit affects me.
face.
Yeah. Curiosity killed the cat. That's
Yeah,
so fucking real.
and it affects me.
Yeah.
I remember I was on Korea
As it
today.
should.
Like, I'm like,
You're
fucking
human.
yeah, right. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man.
I think I left you negative comments on YouTube 15 years ago. I was like, who's this Aridan guy?
That's why I'm not reading it, dude.
I'm just kidding.
No, but
No,
it does.
he's not.
No, it does affect you though.
For
Dude,
sure.
There was this guy, like he was picking out every little thing that I was doing. Right.
That was me.
He wasn't like.
I know. I know who it is. He's a professional announcer
Troll. I
guy,
don't know
right?
what
He
he
was
was.
jealous of you.
I don't know what he was, dude.
Yeah.
But he was good though.
Okay,
I learned a lot from him, though. I'll tell you that.
maybe it was your wife.
It was no, no.
Okay, so
She just says.
okay, so there were some concerns.
Say it to
Okay,
your
anyway.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's show this a little bit of this. It's go to Ktown Social Club, and you'll see that it's this video called "President Yoon Supporters Rally in Orange County." Let's find out why. And there's Young and me.
It's
and
the hat that you're wearing that I think a lot of people are tripping on too.
who's a lot of people.
I mean, I saw a couple comments on there. That one.
So you do read the
I
comments?
do. That's what I said, and I stopped.
Yeah.
You know?
Wait, what were those comments? What did they say?
I just saw that hat looks good on you. I think I just saw that one.
That was like,
It was like, it was one of those, it's called the bitch screen. I just go, look through it real quick.
Oh my god, that's
yeah, that was, I think, the most
See, what's
recent
wrong
comment.
with me, dude? Like, I should not be in entertainment, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, we interviewed some people there.
Yeah, dude.
We interviewed a random white guy.
some Uber driver.
Some teguki bude ajashi.
Wait, so you didn't watch the video at all?
I didn't watch the whole video, no.
Did you see the part where...
You're on your phone.
I hate it when he asks me questions like this because he fucking he's quizzing you and he's like...
Did you catch the part? Did you catch the part where...
No, I read some of the comments. I didn't watch the video.
Okay, so you
Listen to some of the part of the beginning of the video while you're reading the comments.
Maybe. I think I
know
may
how
have.
that works.
You didn't see the part where...
I might have been really drunk.
You didn't see the part where I was commenting on you being interviewed by OC Mom?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, that part
Do
was
I want to
actually
see
funny.
it?
I mean,
No, I was just like, look at him. He's like, because I'm just like, where's Young? He's like, oh, he's drinking a shake. Oh, he's doing an interview. Oh, he's dancing around. Hey, David, did we edit out the part where Young's dancing in the background with like Stewart?
yeah,
How
Oh,
do
we
you
did?
know?
because I didn't see it.
Oh, no, I think I accidentally had them cut it out.
Yeah, I know for a fact it wasn't in it because I didn't see it.
Oh, we missed it because show this here. Right when we're interviewing this girl, like at the end.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Young
that.
comes out and does like a Sound of Music skip and hop like several times right in the middle.
And then does a cartwheel.
No, just hopping, like skipping, whatever. And then we put up a speech bubble saying, "Look what I can do!" Like Mad TV Stewart.
Yeah.
Remember that guy?
You should have left that in. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I totally. Oh man. Yeah, it was Matt. Yeah, so we put this guy.
I'm Stewart.
Hey, look what I can do.
Yeah.
You don't know
God,
this character?
I hated that.
Dude, that's
From
I
Mad TV?
hated that skit so much.
Why does he look so creepy, man? What
'Cause
the
it
hell is
was
that?
so
dude?
creepy.
Yeah, we
Is
can
that
do shorts.
Hank?
Because it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so creepy.
We love Hank.
No, it's the weekly Hank clip.
Who's
Okay.
we? Is we here? In
No,
the,
we
what-
I
love-
said weekly.
Hey,
I'm just
did
kidding.
you hear Joy Reid? She got kicked off.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. You texted me about it too. I'm like, I don't care about MSNBC.
It's not just Joy Ann Reid. They kicked off every person of color. Like that.
No, but a person of color is replacing Joy Reid.
Yeah, I heard she was being replaced by an even worse black person.
Oh, really?
Or I forgot who it is. I don't remember what I read.
Well,
but
I mean, you can't-
I'm just like, it's MSNBC. Who cares?
Julie
you can't
Chang
make
or
it too
whatever. She
obvious.
lost her show too.
Ay.
All these empire puppets.
But
Yeah.
seriously, who the fuck gives a shit about MSNBC? They fucking suck.
Thank you. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. All right, good. Awesome.
And you're
dude.
the one who texted me about it. Okay. So anyway, here's some
I was so happy. That's
parts
what
from the
happened.
video. Let's play some parts here. Let's see. Young is,
Dude, look at my hair, dude.
he's like laughing at everyone. And then you took a picture of me.
Yeah, you want that picture? Did I send it to you?
No, it's okay. What is this? Oh, this is when you're.
Yeah, on the phone with your son.
You guys check out this video. We need more views on this.
Oh, my son, he got pulled over by the police right at that moment, riding his stupid fucking e-bike.
He's 14.
Got another ticket. Luckily, he was very cooperative, so the cop was really nice and let him walk the bike home, which apparently I heard he proceeded to ride about it.
So here's Young.
You laugh.
I
You're
don't
gonna
know.
be mad when you have to bail him out
No,
one
no,
day.
but it's just like I would have done the same thing.
Talking on the phone and drinking a
Listen to
shake.
this.
I understand. You know what? I'm taking that bike away from him. You know what? Fuck that shit.
I think it's a family
Did you
issue,
take it
so-
away from him? No,
Well, no, he's not-
you backpedaled, didn't
He's
you?
not riding it. I'm riding it. I'm gonna take it.
backpedaled.
So I was gonna do these city rides, right, through like all these different places.
Yeah.
I'll hold it for him.
Huh?
I said I'll hold the e-bike for
You
him.
need a bike?
I don't know how to ride one, but I'll
What?
hold it.
No. It's a little like a
Oh, like a bike, like a yeah.
e-bike,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
fast.
Anyway, here's
Yeah,
footage
they go
from.
like
50,
30,
60 miles per
shit,
hour.
This
That's-
is footage from OC Mom's video. She put up a video also. It has 10,000 views. Young lady.
So,
young guy.
so my thing is the trial is going on, right? Still.
Wait, and you're interviewed in this video. You're at 7:35.
See, like they kind of scare me.
Let's see what the comments say about Young. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't
Don't
think anyone's
do that.
really saying
No,
anything.
it's okay. You can.
So I commented on this when you were being interviewed. Also, guess who appears at 12:04?
어이!
네, 윤석열 탄핵 반대. 지금 미국에서 이렇게 하는 이유가 뭐라고 생각하세요?
왜냐하면은 부정선거가 있다고 다들 많이 믿고 있어. 윤석열
Very close-up camera angle.
Election fraud, huh?
형이 말씀하시기 전부터 많은 사람이 한국에는 부정선거가 있다. 미국뿐만 아니라 한국의 부정선거가 팽배.
So election fraud is not just in the U.S., it's also in Korea, huh?
I guess.
Why are you being all quiet suddenly?
I don't
he's
know.
scared.
No,
'Cause
I don't
he
know.
makes them-
I
they
don't
make them
have.
anxious.
I can only vote in the general elections in Korea. That's it. I can't vote in the presidential elections. I only have rights up until then. I don't know where this even came from, but they're saying it's fact. But I haven't really seen the evidence yet. But it's supposed to be coming out during I don't know. What's the
Yeah.
evidence, anyways? I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, we'll get a little bit
I
into
want to
it.
believe it.
We'll
I
get a
mean,
little bit into it in the
I
next
love
episode.
how they all just like ignore essentially the manifesto that he had about
Well, no.
basically becoming a dictator.
Well, no, one of the things is that, like, that woman, I could see just from everything that was shown about that woman, the first lady, I could see why so many people might vote against him, you know?
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see
Okay.
there was a lot about, like, rerouting the highway or
Yep.
something to her piece of property.
Right.
A lot of corruption there that they brought up.
Yeah, a lot of corruption there. So anyway, guys, check out our video at. Wait, this is the OC Mom video.
I just want to know what's true.
Check out. Shit. I gotta
Ktown Social Club.
go to Ktown Social Club. Type it in your search bar.
Is that second video? It's right there.
Go here, and then it's gonna be. By the time you see this, it'll be the second video. But anyway, yeah, check it out. And we might
right.
do more stuff like this. We're gonna look for more protests that are. I mean, they do this every Saturday. I don't think we need to go again. At least not for a month,
Same
maybe.
thing.
But you know what I wouldn't do? Like, I wouldn't send my kid out there to speak on something that he wasn't sure, you know.
But you know that Joshua kid, he's like 19, 20.
Oh, was he?
19 or 20. He's old enough. And even that young lady who was volunteering there, she's like 20 something. So I don't think they're kids.
Okay.
You are old enough to know, but you also don't. Because in order to understand politics, you have to understand how the world works. And you have like a small concept of it at that age, but you can't fully grasp
Dude,
anything.
I don't know anything. I'm
Your
like,
hormones just stopped raging. You're like trying to figure out your life.
Yeah.
Like,
And young, at least you admit it,
I mean, what?
that you don't know.
I don't know. How the
yeah,
fuck am
a
I
lot of
supposed to know?
people don't know, and they just
Yeah.
pretend like they. What is it called? Dunning-Kruger effect.
yeah.
So
Everyone's lying anyways. It's like,
I'm not lying.
I don't know. Maybe you're telling me a lie that someone else lied to you about. I don't know.
Yeah, I might be wrong about something, but I don't think I.
No, I don't
Unless
think you
they're
are.
little white lies.
No, but it's like a counterfeit bill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you pass it off to me, you're not the one.
I know. That's what I mean. Is like, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway,
But some people check.
Counterfeit bills?
Yeah.
Well, I try.
yeah.
So you just need a fact check.
Anyway, that's it for us on.
But what if the
Ktown.
fact checkers are, skewed?
Well, you typically would fact check with multiple sources.
Like this video? Leave a comment. Subscribe to our channel. Smash that notification bell.
All right.
From Koreatown, Los Angeles. Thank you for. Oh, I forgot the old intro.
Outro.
Too late now. See you later.
From the far left to the far right. We don't have that.
You haven't done
anymore.
that in weeks. I want to let
For
you know.
months, I think.
I'm like center right, I think. More center right.
Just say you're right. It's cool.
I am right. I'm always right. I'm never wrong.
Yeah. And we'll be back next time with. I'll be back on the next episode. So we'll see you and Ed and Young, and we'll also be joined by Hajin Cho on the next episode. So we'll see you next time, guys. Peace.
Picking Young's nose.
So I've been drinking like protein powder, protein drinks.